In this video, we're going to talk about getting started with Webpack. I think for myself, I like to use Webpack just to turbocharge my projects because it allows me to really leverage its power by bundling all of my script files, my CSS files, and my images all together into one single bundle in most cases. There are cases when I'm dealing with performance where I'll need to break it out into multiple bundles. So let's just go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go into our project folder. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Dependency Manager to just get this project going. So for my project, I'm going to use Yarn. Some people use NPM, but for this video today, we're just going to use Yarn. So let me go ahead and change to this folder. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and create this Webpack tutorial, and I'm also going to make this project available in its own repo, and I'm going to leave that information in the description area of this video. That's fine. All right, so once we create our package.json, what we want to do is for Webpack, we'll need to basically download the Webpack dependency, and then there's a Webpack CLI dependency. So I'm going to go ahead and add the Webpack dependency and then the Webpack CLI dependency. All right, cool. Okay, so now that we have our Webpack dependencies installed, there's two properties in any Webpack project that are required. One is an entry, and then one is an output. The entry property is basically it's an option that tells Webpack, hey, this is where my entry file is located, and these are all of the dependencies that are required to build the bundle. And then the output property is a place where you define a place that the bundle file will live. So by default, Webpack, if you run a Webpack command, it'll reach out and look for a source folder with an index.js file, and then in the output property, it's going to output your bundle to a disk file with a file name of main.js. So we can actually go in now and test out this default command. So let's create a directory first, because we'll need that, because if we run it without the source folder and then the file within the folder, it's gonna come back complaining. So let's just go ahead and start that. JS. All right. So now if I run my Webpack command, you'll see that it basically takes you through the steps of when it's compiling. So this is just step one within the dependency graph. So this is what it's doing. It's basically creating this dependency graph of every dependency that's required to export this bundle. And so if we look in our disk folder, we'll see that we have our main.js, and this is all being minified into its own module. So if we format this out, it doesn't want to do it. But anyway, if we formatted this out, we can actually see how this is being exported as a bundle and then compiled out for browser use if need be. But we're going to get to that in a later video. So going beyond just using the default, I suggest using a configuration file, and that will allow you to fine tune and have all of the options need be to really create a robust bundler tool. So going beyond the default command, what you want to do is you want to create a configuration file. And this is something that you would use that it's basically like a settings file, and it allows you to just set how you want Webpack to run your bundler, right? So in this case, what we want to do is we want to just create our Webpack configuration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just call this one getting started. Yeah, we could say get started. That's fine. And I'm definitely going to show you how to target this file coming up soon. All right. So in here, what we want to do is the first thing we want to do, as we would when we run a default command, is that there's two things we need. We need the entry, and then we need the output. And because Webpack is a module, we want to make sure that this gets exported. So what we do is we create an exports object, and then within this object we'll create our entry, right? And then we'll do source.js. What do I name it? We could still name it index, that's fine. This will be our indices, right? And then for our output, okay, our output is actually, this setting will be an object. So what we want to do is we want to rename our file name. So instead of it being main.js, we could call it, I don't know, getting started. That's fine. Getting started bundle.js. All right. And then we also have to define the path in which we want this to output. So for the path, what we want to do is we want to use the native node path resolver. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a variable so I can use this node dependency to resolve my file path. So I'll just go ahead and path resolve, right? And then it'll be the current directory, and then the file, the folder name, it'll be dist, right? So now I have my configuration, and this is very bare bones, but this will become more of a configuration rather than just a default command. And in later videos, we're actually going to go ahead and show you how we resolve JavaScript files, CSS files, and images. And then and after that, we're also going to get into creating HTML files to test our bundle file, and also running a dev server to run that index file. So let's just go ahead because I was a little off track there. But what we want to do is we want to run this this configuration file. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to target it with a config flag, and that's basically saying, hey, take this configuration file and run it. So what we do is we do the getting started config.js, right? And then we run it. Boom. So if we look back in our disk file, we'll see that the getting started bundle.js was ran. And then this also shows that our dependency graph is still index.js. And then we have this warning here. This is basically just telling us, that the mode hasn't been set. And so like in production, what'll happen is that if you set this mode to either development or production, you get debugging settings for development, and then it's not minified in dev. But on production, you get uglified code plus a minified bundle. So that's just the reason for this warning. And then if we want to, we can actually set the mode within our configuration file too. So I could do development, right? And it won't complain as much, but hey. Oh, you didn't like that. All right. Oh, because I spelled it wrong. Duh, what am I doing? All right, so bam. And so now the warning's gone. So we could run that again just to show you, because there's a lot going on. So there we have it. And then there's several flags too that are related to this command. So if you wanted to see all the flags that you can set when running a Webpack command, you could just take a look at this and see what's related to your instance. Also, just a quick tip, what I usually do too when I'm ready to really dive in and keep from having to run these commands here where it's like, too many keystrokes. What I usually do is I'll just set my scripts key in my package.json with a single, command, so I can just shorten that up. So I could just call this, let's just call it start. That's fine. So we do Webpack config getting started config.js. So now when I run that with the yarn run start, should run the because I'm rushing, that's why. Start. All right. Look at that. Boom. All right. So that's how we get started with Webpack. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to resolve JavaScript files. So just please subscribe to this channel if you like this video, and see you soon. Thanks.